take off my thing here. Is anybody here yet? No? Okay, so I woke up this morning. Orientation is locked. Good. Okay, so I woke up this morning to buy more GameStop stock. Man, that is just a really funny rhyme. And I'm so excited. This is my favorite story since the housing market crash. This is such an amazing story. If you just take a little time, everybody says, "What's the GameStop situation?" I don't get it. If you just take a little bit of time to read the Wall Street Bets posts or any of the YouTube videos explain the situation, it is the funniest story I have ever seen. It's got me in stitches. So I have a thought on the GameStop situation that I haven't heard liberals or conservatives talking about. And so when I listen to a bunch of stuff and I don't hear anybody say this, I kind of feel like, man, I'm so excited. I got to talk about this. So let me give you the TLDR on GameStop in case you don't know anything about it. Everybody, you could go find a video explaining this. I just want to let you hear how I understand it. I am not a financial advisor. I'm a clueless normie. I'm kind of like I don't use Wall Street just Libra. I did follow Wall Street Bets before this all happened, so I'm familiar with a lot of the memes. And anyway, so I don't know anything about finances, but as I understand it, so a Merit Capital, a hedge fund manager, shorted GameStop stock. They were betting it was going to go down. Now, the problem is if you bet it's going to go down and it goes up, then you lose money. You have to pay the difference to buy that stock back to cover your ass. That means that if the stock goes up infinitely, you could theoretically owe infinity dollars. And the reason that Wall Street Bets decided to do this is they noticed that GameStop is the most heavily shorted company. Every hedge fund bets against GameStop. They bet that GameStop stock is going to go down. Gosh, that's going to be like a future she sells seashells down by the seashore. Right. All right. So they noticed that 140% of available shares of GameStop had been shorted. More shares than existed in reality. People were borrowing to sell, betting that GameStop would lose money, which means if people bought up some GameStop and the price went up a little, it would be literally impossible for them to buy enough shares to cover their position and pay back what they owe. So Wall Street Bets, kind of like these irresponsible trolls, saw an opportunity to screw with the market, and they took it. So what's really interesting about this is this conversation that frustrates left-right thinking. There are things about this that don't work from a left versus right perspective because there's an element of both the left and the right that are absolutely furious at Wall Street because of the '08 housing bubble. So I have a book to recommend for you about the '08 housing bubble. It is Thomas Sowell's The Housing Boom and Bust. Sowell is a conservative. Sowell is an economist. If you are a lefty, I challenge you to read Thomas Sowell's The Housing Boom and Bust. And the book will make you angry because one of the things that it lays out is there was actually a lot of there were people way before the '08 housing boom and bust warning that this is probably going to create a bubble. It created a bubble, and then we went right back to doing the exact same things that create bubbles after the '08 housing boom and bust. We're going to have another bubble just like the '08 housing boom and bust because our government keeps doing the things that creates these booms and busts. Now, that's something that I think after the housing boom and bust, things kind of divided into a right versus left interpretation, where the right kind of knee-jerk said, this is all the government's fault. The left said, this is all the dirty capitalists' fault and corporate greed. And I think one of the points that the housing movement makes was the housing market crash happened. A lot of people had to be stupid for the housing market to crash. And one of the recurring lines from Thomas Sowell is, why should we trust the government? Oop, we here? All right. So where was I? I was talking about uh, people should pay the price uh, because government officials do not pay a price for being wrong. They get the housing market boom wrong. They screw us all over, and then they go live in a house and they don't get fired. Uh, the government pays no price for being wrong. Now, in a free market, theoretically in a free market, if you are horribly wrong, you're supposed to pay a price. You're never supposed to work again. You're supposed to get fired. Maybe you get like a little severance pay or something, but people basically know, wow, you're stupid. We're never going to trust you with our money again. And if you fail, people are going to say, well, serves you right. You were wrong. You thought that you were going to make $1 million. You didn't make $1 million. You lost $1 million. You took a gamble. You lost. You pay the price. However, when the government bailed them out, the stock market, the investors, did not pay the price for being wrong. So I think it's entirely fair to be outraged at both of them. Now, one of the things that prompted this is Ben Shapiro covered the GameStop situation. And one of the things he said about it is he thought it was absolutely hilarious, but he thought it was unethical or wrong if you were buying GameStop stock for no other purpose than giving a middle finger to Wall Street. So Ben Shapiro kind of represents I would say, the knee jerk conservative, facts don't care about your feelings reaction to this. So, default conservative position is this is bad. Or now he did say, it's actually perfectly legal for them to do this, and it's funny. Now, why would Ben Shapiro say it's funny if it's bad? Well, the reason I would say the reason he thinks it's funny is because he actually recognizes sort of the moral justice of the situation. It couldn't be funny if Merit Capital didn't put themselves into a position where they were screwing themselves. If we lived in a free market, if Merit Capital did something that could get them bankrupted, comedically so, and then they got bankrupted, then the obvious lesson would be, well, capitalists, you should be careful because if you're betting against the stock market, you're making a bet and you could lose that bet. And if you lose that bet, you should pay the price for losing that bet. I actually think there's a very good capitalist. That's the point. I think there's a very good capitalist argument for the GameStop situation that kind of like the default conservative or the fuddy-duddy business conservative position misses out on. Now, there's also now a sort of communist or radical left progressive element to this. So AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Ted Cruz have both tweeted that they're really mad about how the independent investors trying to buy GameStop have been shut down by a lot of the powers that be in the stock market world. The stock market world realized that these lots of people are buying these GameStop shares for a meme. They paused buying them on Robinhood. They stopped people from buying them on a lot of places. Some people have claimed that they were forced to sell their shares. I haven't seen real confirmation of that, but there are at least screenshots of people claiming that. But basically, the stock market is trying to stop people from buying GameStop, even if you want to buy GameStop. And even the AOCs and the Ted Cruzes of the world are able to agree and say, yeah, this is outrageous. We got to do something about this. Why is that happening? So for a socialist, communist type, something like the GameStop situation, the common line is, this proves that we're in late stage capitalism. This proves that capitalism is unmoored from reality. This proves that capitalism creates this evil billionaire class, and we need to destroy the entire thing so that we can serve the people. And the populist right also wants to serve the people. So it's really, really interesting from that kind of dynamic perspective. Now, I don't buy into the hardcore socialist left, but I'm kind of happy that this is getting them to talk about economics with us again. I think we missed a chance to do that during the '08 housing crash. So I'm actually really, really happy that some people at the left are looking at this GameStop situation and thinking about what it could mean. So the point I want to get to is where do we go from here? So let me for people who hate capitalism, I'm recommending you to read Thomas Sowell's The Housing Boom and Bust, because if you have some hope that the government can intervene and save us from the big bad capitalists, that will stamp out your stupid idealistic hopes and crush them, and maybe then you can have like a bit more of a mature conversation about just how screwed we are. But I also think that the capitalists and the normie Republicans have basically missed out on just how mad people are at the stock market over the '08 housing bust. A lot of them were maybe shielded from the economic effects of it. I wasn't in the job market back then. I was just like a kid, so I didn't quite. I just knew I didn't quite know what was going on. I just knew it was bad, right? But the wealthier you were, or the more insulated you were from it, the more it seemed like a foreign, abstract problem. And the emotions people have about it actually matter. And that's what is happening with GameStop. It is stupid to buy GameStop stock. It's irrational, but the people who are buying it have a rational purpose for buying it. They're buying GameStop stock to vote that I want these hedge fund managers to go bankrupt, to teach them a lesson that they will never forget. And basically, okay, let's get to the whole point of why I wanted to make this. The whole point of why I wanted to make this is it is moral to use the free market to punish people. That's my whole point. It is not a sin to say, I think hedge fund managers need to be taught a lesson about the free market. And yeah, that's what I want conservatives to realize. Conservatives tend to see anyone in a business suit and assume they must automatically be a good person. Now, here's the thing. I don't have any evidence that Merit Capital has done anything immoral or illegal. I don't know what Merit Capital did during the '08 housing boom. So a lot of people, when they rhetorically talk about the GameStop situation, they say, well, guys like Merit, they did the housing bust. Nah, you can't just say like Merit all by itself, Merit Capital no, it didn't. Lots of things caused the housing bust. Now, but did Merit profit off the housing bust? Did Merit get bailouts from the government at any point? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. So that actually is completely irrelevant to me. The moral case for why it's okay to buy GameStop and teach the stock market a lesson is people who are wrong should pay a price. And it ought to be a free and competitive market. It isn't acting like a free and competitive market. The stock market are trying to stop people from talking about stocks on social media. They're asking the FBI to investigate it. They're not playing by the rules. The whole idea of the free market is we're supposed to play by the rules, and whoever wins wins. And the feeling that's true for a lot of people is we play by the rules, but we don't get to win because the elites don't have to play by the rules. They have their own set of rules. So when financial experts, when big heads with advanced degrees in economics put themselves in a situation where they put a giant sign on their back saying, please kick me in the pants. I was going to say something a lot more blue than that, but basically hedge fund managers announced to the world that if you wanted to kick Wall Street in the pants, it was completely possible to kick Wall Street in the pants. The Wall Street bet guys are not communists. They're capitalists. A lot of them, talk about Daddy Trump or Daddy Elon Musk. They celebrate, making big bucks in capitalism. They just make sort of stupid memes about making irrational bets on the stock markets. Wall Street Bets notices that. Wall Street Bets decides to drive up the price of GameStop for fun to teach Merit Capital a lesson, and then it explodes to basically this point where maybe it'll bankrupt tons of Wall Street institutions. So my final point is, if it was possible for your institution to be bankrupted by people buying GameStop stock for a meme, you deserve to be bankrupted because you put yourself in a position where you could be bankrupted and you didn't consider the risk. Capitalism is not you make $1 billion and the government protects you and never lets you go bankrupt. Capitalism is not free markets for an elite group of people and no free markets for independent people. Capitalism, the free market, is you get to spend your money the way you want. And if it goes belly up, you pay the price for being wrong. They were wrong. They made a mistake. Now it's time for them to pay the price for being wrong. Buy GameStop. Now, I am not, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Do not invest your life savings in GameStop. It is almost definitely going to tank eventually, and you could lose all of your savings. The whole point of buying GameStop is that it is irrational. The things like the housing booms and busts are caused because people act rationally, even if their rational actions collectively lead to an economic collapse. It makes sense to bet on the housing boom if you are convinced the government is going to bail out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So you could say it's wrong that we had this housing boom and housing bust, but it doesn't really matter. People act in their self-interest. It was completely predictable that it was going to happen because people act in a way that they think will benefit themselves. That's rational. Buying GameStop is irrational because the price is almost definitely going to collapse. Now, maybe you could make a long-term argument that maybe there's some long-term health to the company that people aren't appreciating. Some people do believe that, but it's not a $100 billion company or whatever it is. The joke of buying GameStop is you are potentially just throwing your money away for no other reason than to stick it to Merit Capital. Now, I'm not going to tell you, because I'm not a financial advisor, I will not tell you whether or not you should buy GameStop. All I want to say is, contra to Ben Shapiro, not only is it funny to buy GameStop, it is moral to, if you can buy GameStop and not have your moral conscience bother you because you are doing something legal. And if somebody goes bankrupt because you bought GameStop, that's fine, because according to capitalism, you should pay the price for being wrong. Someone ought to pay the price for being wrong about GameStop. I'm Norman Marmaduke fan.